Hi and welcome to a GrandMA3 tutorial. This is one of the longer ones. It's kind of a programming session where we're going to go through a lot of different things. Basically, I want to build a GrandMA3 busking show from scratch. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. And I think I'm going to do it with macros in the layout window. Maybe even assign some images that changes when you push the macros, and as we see on GrandMA2. So that's basically what I'm gonna do today. This tutorial is great for GrandMA beginners. It's a GrandMA3 beginner tutorial, and I think it's a good thing if you want to learn GrandMA3 programming. Then you can definitely get some benefit out of this tutorial. So as you can see right here, I started a brand new show with absolutely nothing in it. Let's start by changing the resolution. Usually I have the resolution like this because then you can actually see. I'll just show you here. If I open a group pool, for instance, you can see what's going on, even if you're on a smaller screen like a mobile device or something. But the thing we're going to do today, we need some more screen real estate. And what we do is we go up into the icon up here, go down to configure display, and we right click on scale, and then we choose 0.75. That's going to give us a lot more room to work with. So let's start by setting up our view here with our groups. Let's take it further, and now we actually need to patch some fixtures first. So let's do that. Let's go into the patch and say we need to play with. Let's go into the shares library and say I usually use Vipers, so let's just use Vipers. There's only performance in here. That's kind of annoying. Okay, let's go back in here and see there's no one here. Then let's take from GrandMA2 library and see if we can find a profile. It's right here. We choose the 16-bit version, which is fine. We need to name it Viper 1. We need a quantity of, let's say, 24. We need a fixture ID of 701. And we apply this, and it's going to patch it as well. So that's all our Vipers. Let's put in some grouping as well. We insert a new fixture. We go into the GrandMA3 library. We search for group, and we patch, let's say, 4 groups maybe. Yes, and fixture ID is right now, we'll just keep it at 10,000 so we can change it later. Let's call the first group Viper group. And then let's take all the Vipers and mark them out like this. And we cut them, and we go into our Viper group. We go into new fixture, and we paste them in here. Then they are nicely tucked away. Let's take some, I usually take auras, so let's just continue on that note. Let's go into new fixture. Let's say insert. Let's see if they exist in the shares library. Mac Aura XB, they do. There we go. Which one should we choose? Let's just take the standard one. Maybe go a little bit further. No, let's just take the standard one. That's fine. So we select that. We call it RXB number 1. That's fine. Let's say 24 of those as well. Let's call them 601. And let's just apply the patch. The patch doesn't really matter when we're working in no show or just a demo show. So that should be fine. Let's say all aura. No, let's say aura group. Aura group. There we go. What else do we need? We need some strobes of some sort. Should we just go with atomics? They're just really annoying. Let's go with, maybe we should patch some JDC ones. I've never used them, so I hope I can figure out how they work. So let's go into new fixture. Let's say insert. Let's see if they exist over here. JDC, JDC1. How many different? DMX mode 2. I've never used them, but that sounds a little. DMX footprint is 20 channels. So let's just try that one out. See how that works. We select those. Let's just take 12 of them, maybe. So JDC1, quantity of 12. Fixture ID 301 maybe? I've never tried this before. Patch 1? Please, 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 please. Is that how it works? Looks like it might have worked. Okay, it patches all the different instances. Different numbers. Okay, I've never tried the JDC one before. Maybe that's a little bit too complex for us right now. Let's just change those to atomics because otherwise I need to learn a new fixture. And I don't want to do that. Group. There we go. Oh, that was wrong. We changed those to... Where do I change them? I changed them here maybe. Yeah. Let's find GrandMA2. Let's find shares, atomic, 3000. That's fine. Let's just put that into a... We need the 4-channel mode like this. Yeah. It's kind of laggy today. Oh, it's because it's downloading the file from the internet. Okay. Ah, and it added a icon as well. That's kind of cool. And we rename this to atomic group. Okay, so now we have atomics, vipers, noras. For some reason, it's always the same fixtures I work with in these tutorials, but we should be okay. Should we patch some dimmers, maybe? Maybe patch some just normal dimmer channels. We insert. Let's stay here and say dimmer. Just an 8-bit. That's fine. There we go. And we call it dimmer 1. We set a quantity of, let's take 24 as well. And a fixture ID of 1. And just apply the patch. So now we have dimmers, we have atomics, we have auras, and we have vipers. So let's just call this dimmer group. Oops. Like this. All right. So that's our patch. Let's just close this one down, save and exit, and we should have our patch ready. So let's just build some presets here. We need a video no, shapers no, control, not necessary, focus. Yeah, maybe we need some focus. Maybe we need some beam information as well. Maybe we need color. We definitely need color. And then we can just change this afterwards if we need to make more room, to have more room. Gobo, position, definitely. And dimmer. Yeah, we might as well take the dimmer, and then we can take some dimmer information in that as well. And we have our groups up here. Maybe we make this 2 layers. Dimmers is fine in 1 layer. Position, we might need a little bit more real estate for that one. Gobo should be okay. Color. What we have 9 colors right now. That should be okay. Beam and focus. Okay. Then we can open a 3D window. There we go. And make it a lot smaller so we can see what's going on. Just put it over here. Maybe that's a little bit too big. And now we can take some playbacks, some faders. We move that up here. We scale it down. So we only see the first 5 faders. That should be all right for the start. Now, maybe we just need 2 rows. Should we clean up the view just a little bit? See, do we need the top 400 row? Probably not. The 300 row we definitely need, yeah. The 200 row we need. The 100 row we need. The labels. Do we need the labels? Yeah, we do need the labels. Yeah, that's the way it is. Now, what else should we have here? Maybe we should just start by saving this view here. So we store this as main view. And then we can use these other fixture views and preset views, some pre-built views from the desk. So we need a macro pool down here for our shortcuts. So we go into macros. We scale this one down. We put it up here. Maybe a little bit more room. And I like to work on the macros here. So let's just import a few macros. Let's say previous. There we go. Let's say next. Oops. Import. Next. Let's take highlight as well. Oops. I need to import, sorry. Highlight. We import that one. What else do we need? We need some store macros here. And this is basically just shortcuts. Instead of using the shortcuts on the keyboard or going into the command section all the time, then we can just use the macros down here. So if I press store and somewhere up here, it's actually going to do exactly the same as if I go in here and press the store button and store up there. So it's a pretty cool function. What else do we need? We need an update maybe. Update, selected queue. Nah, we should have just a normal update. That's weird. It's not there. So what if we go into this one? This is just store, so maybe we can just say update. Maybe that's gonna work. Maybe it's not gonna work. The GrandMA3 software is still, I wouldn't call it buggy, but well, it is, but it's kind of stable. But there's a lot of functionality which is not here yet, which is going to be in a future version. So you just have to live with some minor changes or some functionalities which is simply not working yet. So I mean that's fine. That's a very, very young software. It's going to be good. I'm sure of it. Let's make some groups. Let's say 701 through 701 through 724. That's all our Vipers. So we store this up here, and maybe we label it all Vipers. Oops, I need to go out of this here. I made a mistake now. Let's do it again. All Vipers. And let's clear out, let's say 601 through 612. And we store that up here, and that is all our auras. There we go. Then we need to clear again. We need a clear button down here. That's what we need. Let's import a clear button. Clear all. There we go. Clear all. So if I select these ones and I clear, that's fine. Then I don't have to go in here all the time to do the clearing. That's fine. So that's all of them. We need 301 through 312. That's all our atomics. So we store that here, and we call this all atomics. And if you don't know if this is your first time watching a tutorial on GrandMA3, we have these new swipes here. If you're used to the GrandMA2, you couldn't do this. You simply just press one of the squares, and you can use that in many different places on the console. And you just pull the mouse outside the box with the button pressed down, and then you'll have some store, edit, assign, label, delete, move, copy option. And when I started trying out the GrandMA3 software for the first time, I was kind of, what do I need this for? But I think it's actually really, really brilliant, and I use it all the time, especially when I'm working on the on PC. So that's it. All our Vipers, all our auras, all our atomics. We need all our dimmers. That's 101 through 124. No, it's 1 through 24. I'm pretty sure. I have to check the patch. But I'm sure it was 1 through 24. It is. So if we clear and we say 1 through 24, we should be able to store that up here as all dimmer. That's it. I think right now we need some more room here. So if we take the position and scale it a little bit down, take the dimmer down here and maybe make this bigger. Now we could open the layout view over here. Where do we have it? Right here. Because we are definitely going to need that in a minute. Maybe we make it a little bit bigger. That's it. We could open a color picker just for now over here, and we can set it to this one, or maybe you can set it to fader. Make it smaller. There we go. And then we can store this again in our main view, and we can always change this later, and we're definitely going to change it. So, because we need more room for all kinds of other different things. Basically, I want to build a busking show on the layout view. So you would have some macros assigned here, and they will change color depending on what color we're in. We're going to have some positions, and we'll see how far we're going to get in this tutorial because we're starting all over. Let's just build some color presets here for our Vipers and our auras. Let's just keep it in white and store it here in our color directory. Let's make a cyan. Let's make a magenta. Let's make a yellow. Let's make a red. We could choose a green. We could choose a dark blue. Maybe, and I find myself always using the same colors in these tutorials here. So let's not make it any more difficult than it has to be. That's a CTO kind of thing, and that's a CTB kind of thing. That's fine. Let's clear this. So basically, this should contain 72 fixtures. Should be okay. That's quite weird, actually. That is quite weird. Let's open our fixture. Oops, that's wrong. Delete that one. Fixture over here. So what do we have? We have 24 Vipers. Oh, that's with the subfixtures. Oh my god. I need to change the patch because I hate the aura effect in the auras, even though they look nice. But working with them, I'm just not ready to do all this multi-layer thing yet on the GrandMA. So that's the subfixture. We need to change all these ones over here to a different mode. Where do we have them? That's a standard. We patched them in extended mode, and I think I just need it in the standard mode to make it a little bit easier. So that's changed. We save and we exit. That should actually just do it and see how much is in here now. If we clear, now we have 24 fixtures in this one, and that's not enough. Oops. So we need to redo the colors, and we need to just store it on top of this and then just replace. No, sorry, just override. That's 36 fixtures now. That is really weird. That is really weird. We go back into the patch and we have 24 auras. And we have 24 Vipers. That should give a total of 48 fixtures. But for some reason, it does. It does actually work. There we go. So let's just do it again. Cyan. And we override. Magenta. And we override. And I know we can use global colors and we can use universal colors. But I like the selection to be in it, especially when we're doing these tutorials here. So let's take the red one. Let's take the green one. Let's take the blue one. Let's take we can just take the CTB since we're touching it already. You can actually right click on these ones and then just type in the value, which I think is really, really cool. And then we take this one down, we right click here and we say 30%. We store this up here, override. So that's all our colors. What do we need now? We need our dimmers. So we can say our Vipers, our Auras, our Atomics, our dimmer. We store this in our dimmer directory up here. And because I didn't turn them on, it didn't work, which is kind of logic. Now we can merge it in here, and that should be it. So that's all our moving lights and all our dimmers, everything. If we just take our dimmers and push this one, it's going to take it at full. So that's cool. So we just select this one and say at 0, for instance, and we can store this here. So that's an easier way to access. Instead of going down here and say at full, we can simply say all our Vipers at full. So that's a little bit easier. Now we could close the playback window for a second and move this one over here, and then we could start arranging our 3D window. So let's take all our Vipers, go into the setup menu up here, and that's going to give us some X, Y, and Z position. And we can start moving stuff around. So let's just take them all up into maybe 6 meters in height. And maybe we need to select the first 12 of them. So we say 701 through... now I did it again. Oops. When the shortcuts are active and you start writing, it's going to do really weird stuff. So let's just not do that and say 701 through... That's weird. 701 through... And now it's not active. 712, that's only the first 12 of the Vipers. Let's just zoom in here a little bit so we can see what's going on. We go into the Align menu down here. And we push it the first time, it's going to make this dash or whatever you want to call it. You can also right-click and see your different options here. If you use this dash here and you go into your X position, it's going to space it out, which is not doing right now. That's funny. Let's just try that again. I saved it here for some weird reason. I changed the macro. So we label it clear. That's what happens when you start writing and your shortcuts, when you think your shortcuts are active and they're not. So this one, what was that, by the way? That was update. So we need to change the name on that one as well. Update. There we go. So we clear, and we once again try to say 701 through 712. Enter, and we go into the Align menu again, and now we can space them out. And here's a cool little trick. You go up and say show label on spot. Sorry, show label on body, and then you can see the fixture number. We need to space out into, let's say, minus 7 through 7 meters. Does that work? That works. But it looks kind of wide. No, that didn't work. That was kind of weird. Can we make an oops down here maybe? If we edit that one, we say, oops, that was wrong. We need to import. Oops, that's a good button. You're going to use that a lot. So if we, now it oopsed itself. Import, oops, import, clear. All right, so we take these again. You can actually select them in the 3D window, which is kind of fun. And we set it down to 0 again. And then we can take it up into 6 meters again. Something weird happening here right now. So we oops that, take it all the way back down, we clear, and we try to select them again, 701 through 712. We take it up into 6 meters of height. We go into the Align tool and we start scrolling. And that is the wrong way. You can see that's 712 first. And we don't want that. We want it the other way. So here we go. And we take it. We just take 7 meters, I think, in both directions. Maybe that's not enough. What do you think? Do we need more? Yeah, we need it. We take it to 8 meters. And by the way, when you just hover over this small round circle here, you can just grab it and move it around, or you can just use your mouse, the scroller on your mouse. That's actually really helpful. So that's the first 12 Vipers. So we clear that. And then we select 713 through 724. And we say enter. And we take that up into maybe 7 meters. And then we align again and we space it out in the same position. So let's just take 9 meters again. There we go. So we clear that, and then we can select maybe the top row here, and we can store that. We can store that here and say front row, and we can clear that. Then we can say all our Vipers, and we can actually say minus this group, and that would be the back row. So now that's it. Now we need our auras just to have fun with them. So I still use this one, muscle memory. I can just press this one. Let's take all our auras and let's move them into 6 meters to see what's going to happen there. And we can space those ones out as well. If we take, maybe we need some more room, do we? No, we should be okay. If we start by taking half of them, if we say, just turn on the shortcut, yeah, 601 through 606, and we align it so it fits like this, maybe, and we can turn off the align, and then we can simply move them to one side. 6, 7, we need them all the way out here. Then we can clear that, and we can say 607 through 612. They're right there, and we align them as well so they fit the other ones like this, and we turn off the align and we move them to the other side. Is that going to work? That is definitely going to work. That's fine. Then we can take 613 through 618, and we move that up 6 meters. We move that up to 7 meters maybe, and we do the same thing. We align it so they match up with the other Vipers. Then we turn off the align and we move it to one side like this. I mean, this is very simple lighting design. And remember, you still have the option of importing my virtual rig files into the GrandMA, which is going to do all this for you. So this is just to show you how everything works. So 619 through 624, I think. We move it up into 7 meters, actually. Yeah, and then we do the same thing again. Setting up this always takes a bit of time, but it's worth it because you can then see and you can build anything you want in the GrandMA3 software, which is really, 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 really cool and useful. So that's it. Then we clear this and we maybe select all our atomics and we see if we can move them up into maybe 8 meters. And then we can simply just space them out as well. And we just take it all the way up to 9 meters. Like this. Yeah. And then we clear that. And we can take all our dimmers and move that up into 9 meters. And we can also space those out like this. Oh, and they're turned upside down. We need to do it the other way. And we need to change the atomics as well. That's kind of annoying. Let's go all the way up into 9 meters. And then let's just select all our atomics. And let's just... Oops. Let's only select all our atomics. Like this. And align it the other way. So we have one on your left side. Otherwise, it's going to be weird. So that's a very quick, very simple design of a lot of fixtures. And we should be able to change camera here to the side. Maybe we can do this one. Where is it? We can move it around. So maybe we want to move the rows a little bit forward because they are all like just a big wall of stuff. Or maybe we can just use that. I think we should. We should just push this one left, right. There's a whole bunch of different ones here. And how do I find the first one again? Two D front, 2D left, 2D back, 2D right, top, front. We just take this one. So maybe we need to take the quality up in the, maybe the ambient light a little bit down. We put the quality all the way up to fancy. And this is going to work on a powerful computer. But if you don't have a powerful computer, it's probably going to kill it. And if you do this on the real GrandMA console, it's definitely going to kill it. Because it needs so much power to do this. So that should be all of it. And then we could clear here and we go out of setup and we take all our wipers just for the fun of it, turn them on, take a position, move them up like this, and it works. Even though they're not very powerful right now. Why is that? Why is that? I need to take the ambient light down a little bit, I think. Point light. Ambient. Beam. Spot. It's not very powerful right now. I don't know why it is like this. But I think we can work with it. Don't you think? It's just, it's the labels. They did something funny. Okay. It's working. So that's all our Vipers. Let's clear that. Let's see if all our atomics work as well. Turn them on. Move them up. It seems to be only half of them. Did I only store half of them? Yeah, seems I only stored half of them in our group up here. That's kind of weird. So let's say 601 through 624. And if I highlight that, that should be all of them. So let's store that in our group and let's merge it in. And then let's see if we move them forward, if we turn them on, no highlight. All the colors work, that's fine. What if we zoom them in? Okay, it works. So let's clear that, and let's maybe take half our auras and store them in the front and back row as we did here. So if we say 601 through 612, and we highlight that, we store that in the front row, maybe? Or maybe it's the bottom row, or the back row. Front row. And we clear that. And we select all, and we say minus this one. And that's the top row. Okay. Okay, so we need to move this up here, and we need to move that down here. And we can move that into place here. So we call this, they can't be the same name, so we say aura top. If I could spell. There we go. Label aura down. And actually, you don't have to do the swipey thing if you want to write something. You can simply just press it and then start writing. If I didn't have my shortcuts on, which is always messing with me. So here we go. Viber, top, and Viber down. So that's it. Clear that. All our atomics, we could just leave it like that. And then I think we need to start building our layout view just for the fixture selection. So if we say assign, we need to turn this one back on. So that's the Alt A is assign all our Viber top here into our group here, and that is the wrong way to do that. I'll show you in a minute what I mean. We say minus to that one. If you say assign something and put it here, it's going to assign the group. But if you say the group and then assign, then you can put it in like this. And we need to move it around a little bit. That's all our Vipers. And we zoom in. And we need a little bit more room. We need a little bit more room to navigate. So we go into our Align tool again, and we simply just scroll it just a little bit out. And you can see when we are zoomed in like this, if we have this large workspace as we have right now, because we set the resolution a little bit down in the beginning, because we needed all this room. Graphical, it's a little bit difficult to see sometimes on my. It's not a 4K screen, so that's the way it is. So that's all the Vipers. Then we take the bottom row and we assign that here. And we do the same thing. We position it in center here like this. And then we go into the Align tool again and we align it to the other ones that should be like this. And maybe that's fine. That's fine. And then we just put the auras down here. So let's say all our auras, we assign that here. We find the center, which is about here. And we align those as well. Maybe like this, and we just move it around like this. It's fine. And then we take these ones, do the same thing, find the center somewhere, align it like this. So that's basically all our auras. That's all our Vipers. Then let's take all our atomics. Say clear. All our atomics. We assign those here. And they already have nice images, which is really fine. And that is cool here. And we align that the other way. Oops. We activate the align. Just space them out like this. It's fine. We take all our dimmers and we put them down here, and there's a lot of them. And what we can do now, because there's so many of them, we can simply make them smaller in width and height. So let's just make them half the size, like this, which is fine. And then we align it the other way around, because we don't need all that space. We don't need to see them as clear. We just need to see if they're working. So that's our layout. We could put groups and other stuff in here, but there's no reason to do that. So let's clear this again, and let's just store our view here once again in our main view. Okay. So now we can see what's going on. So let's take all our Vipers. You can see they work. Let's take all our auras. They work. Let's take all our atomics. They turn on. And let's take all our dimmers. They also turn on, but they kind of look weird. All of this, I presume this is all going to be made a lot better in the future, because it's a little buggy still. It's a little, your options as you had on the GrandMA2 is very limited right now in this layout view. So there's a lot of things missing, but I presume it's going to be better in the future. Who knows? Yeah, it's okay. So let's continue and say, what do we need now? We need some positions maybe. Let's just take all our Vipers and let's go into position. Let's just move them up like this. That's position number 1. So we can simply just store this as, we can just store this as position. I did it again. Label. Oh, now we need to clear it out. Annoying. Cancel. Clear all. Vipers. Move them. Store this in this preset and override it, so we are absolutely certain what's in it. So that's number 1. Let's label that position 1. We can just move them up a little bit further like this, and we could choose the top one, and we could line it out a little bit like this. We could also choose the bottom one, and we could do the same thing. So they look like this. I'm not going to be very complex with the positioning, because this tutorial is basically about just programming something and doing the busking page as we talked about in the beginning. So, but it needs preparation. It always needs preparation to start something. So we merge this in, and that should be our first position. Let's just select all our Vipers again, and let's move them up into our, like, an audience position like this. We store this here, and we just move them all the way up into the air. We store this here, and then we take them back to here, and then we could just very simple move one row one way and one row the other way, just for the fun of it. I know it's kind of weird, but it works. So we store this as position number 2. Okay, and this one was our audience. And this was our, we could call it air. Let's just do the same thing for our auras. We choose all our auras. We move them up into the kind of the same position as the first one. We store this in position number 1, and we merge it in. We could move it into the audience. Store this in, store this in position number, that's wrong. Store this in our audience position. We could move them all the way up into the air, like this. Store this into our air position. And we can take them back down. And let's just do the same thing. We pan half one way, and we pan the other half the other way. Let's just see how that looks. It looks kind of weird, but it's fine. for the sake of this tutorial, it's fine. This is more of a principle tutorial on how it works. So let's say we have all our Vipers again. We move them into position number 1. We could put in a gobo. We could just take the open gobo first and store this here. Then we could take take dots in space. Store this here. And they're highlighted right now. That's why you can't see what's going on. Let's just turn off highlights. You can actually, it's very hard to see, but there's actually gobos in it right now. Let's just change it to happy. Store this here. Let's just change this to this one. That's fine. Now we can make some beams. If we turn it on and we move it into our position and we go into beam. And remember, color directory only stores whatever is in color. You might have 2 layers, you might have 3 layers, but it only stores what is in color. Beam directory only stores what's in beam, and so on and so forth. So right now we are just going into our beam directory, see if there's something here we need. We could set some different strobe durations maybe. Strobe rate, nah, doesn't matter. We're not going to use that. Let's just take our focus and let's just make a few zoom palettes. Let's take it down to narrow, and we store this. We store this here. Oops. You can see it's not going to work if I store it in a different directory. It's just going to go black because it can't store any focus information in the beam directory. But if we try it here, it's going to work. Let's take it to normal. Store that here. And let's take it to wide and store that here. So this is our normal. Maybe we should call it zoom, normal, zoom. Oops. We call it zoom, normal. And here we have our wide preset. Yeah, this is our wide, this is our normal. So we call this zoom wide. We call this one zoom narrow. Okay. So we clear this. So now we have a few different groups here. We have our layout view over here. We have our dimmers we can turn on and off. We have some positions. We have a few gobos. We have some colors, and we need to delete this one because it's not going to do anything. And we have some focus down here, which is our zoom range. So now I would like to build another layout view. So to be able to do that, I think we should probably make it a little bit bigger. So if we close the 3D window right now, oops, if we just kill that and we move it up here, because we need a lot more room on it right now. And then we can open and start working on our macros for our layout view. So maybe like this, maybe like this. We make this a lot bigger, then you should be able to see it better when we zoom in. Yeah. There we go. So if we take this one down and we find this one up here, we need some layout squares here. Yeah, that's our first layout view. Let's just build another one here. So let's store one here and select it. There's nothing in it. So we're gonna start building some macros now. And to be able to build some macros, we actually need to have an image. I want to put an image in which is just white and which is just like circling the white, so we can use this in our macros. And we can assign our macros to our layout view. So let's do that. I have Davinci Resolve open here. Let's just go into our Fusion directory, and Davinci Resolve is a free software, and it's really advanced. I mean, really, really advanced and really, really cool to use. So if you're looking for editing software, Davinci Resolve is definitely going to get you there. It's really, really cool piece of software, and it's free. So That's really cool. I'm going to post a link, as I said, in the description, so you can download it and try it out if you want to play with it. I'm just going to do a composition here of 150 times 150. All the frame rates doesn't matter because we only need a static image. So I need to add a background to this one and a media out, and we take the background and we set the alpha transparency to full, and we need a square, and we need a rectangle here, and we move it up here. We connect these two. If you haven't worked with Davinci, it's actually a very cool program. It has kind of an After Effects engine, which is Fusion built in, and you can do amazing things in it. But the learning curve, if you haven't worked with nodes, is pretty steep. But I kind of like it. I think it's an amazing program. So here we have this. We scale it all the way up to the edge, almost to the edge. Same here. And maybe we take it not from solid, and we give it a border like this. Maybe we can scale it a little bit further down. So maybe that's a bit too wide on the border. That's probably fine. And then we take this one, we call it 0.94, like this, .94, oops. Like this maybe, yeah. And we need the background to be all white. That's fine, that's our first image. We go into the color, we grab the still up here, that's fine. Then we go back into Fusion and we go into the rectangle again. We make it solid. And we go into color again and we grab still. And then we need to export these two stills. We need to export it as a PNG. Export. And we need to export this one as well as a PNG. We can just export that as well. And then we should have access to these two images. And I think we do over here. That's fine. Okay. Now we need to import them into our appearance. Not our appearance. We have an image pool somewhere. There we go. And we say file name. Maybe I can. There must be an import there. Yeah. And we need to import. And I have to put them into the GrandMA3 directory, and I have no idea where to find that. See if I can find it somewhere in our. Sorry, I'm just working on the other screen right now. I need to find my my 3D, my GrandMA3 directory, which is kind of hiding from me. We have programs, we have MA lighting, GrandMA3, that's the GrandMA2, I think. GrandMA3, bin, temp. I can't find it. That's not good. Okay, I just had to pause the video for a second because I simply forgot how to import images into GrandMA3. And I think we're all GrandMA3 beginners in some sort on this new console. So I tend to forget, and that is actually one of the reasons why I do these tutorials, is to spread the knowledge, of course, of a fantastic new lighting console, but also remind myself and how things work, and so I don't forget. So it actually helps me out a little bit. Let me just show you what I did. I put in a thumb drive into my computer, and I saved my show. And if you can see this thumb drive down here, I think this is this is my thumb drive, and this is the folder, the GrandMA3 folder. There we go. And then we have the library. We go into media. We go into images, and there you can put the images in. You need to import into your show afterwards. So find the folder, save it on a thumb drive. Find the folder with your GrandMA3 show. Go into library. Go into media. Go into images, and then just dump your PNG images in here. And then you can close this one down. Then you go into images and you right click and you say import, and you say not internal, but this is my thumb drive is called GMA2, which of course is because I used it for GMA2. And there you can see I have my two images here. So let's just import the first one, and it's going to occupy spot number 1. Let's do the same thing with the other one. There we go. And that is basically what we want to do here in images, because then we can close this one and we can open our appearance window. And then we can just scroll down into, we have an empty spot somewhere. Let's just take maybe 101 and 102. And then we can do the same thing here. We start a new appearance. We say image, and we just choose the one we need. Do the same over here. We say image, and we choose the other one because it looks inside our image pool. And then you can find the correct image. So here we go. We have 101 and we have 102. So let's just try making a macro down here. And actually, I'm going to move this one up to 101 as well. Here, we start a macro at 101. We insert a new macro line. And when I push this macro, I want it to change to the first image. And the first image in our appearance is 101. So we need to change appearance. So we need to say... we need to say assign P. Is that spelled correct? No. P. Rens. Is that spelled correct? 101 at macro 101. Let's see what happens. Maybe I spelled it wrong. I did. Is it like this? There we go. So assign appearance 101 at macro 101. That means we take the appearance up here, 101, and we put it on this macro. So let's try to put this, we just copy this text and put it into this macro here. Like this. And we can actually close this down. And when I push this, it's gonna change the appearance to this one. Let's just try to change it. Why is it not here anymore? Did I not put it in? Now I did. Let's just change assign appearance 102 at macro 101 and see what happens if I push this one. It's going to change, and that's fine. So what we're going to do now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 colors here. So I want to, when I push a macro, I want it to assign colors 1 through 9 in my appearance down to this one. So let's just try that out and say assign appearance 101 through 109. Oops. At macro 101 through 109. So what's going to happen now, hopefully, is it's going to assign appearance 101 through 109 down to macro 101 through 109. they don't exist yet. We're going to change that in a minute. So when I push this one, it's going to change back to what it was doing, and it's actually changing these ones as well. But because they're empty, nothing is going to happen. So let's change these appearances. Let's just import one image again here, and let's say this one, and we say this one, and then we can go back and say the first color is cyan. So let's change this to a cyan kind of color like this. We just put this all the way up and this all the way down, and do the same here like this. And if I push the macro, if I just make some empty macros here and I push it, you see it changes, which is fine. Except for the fact that I need to change this a little bit. I made a mistake because I need all the ones with only the border as 101 to 109, and then we can move the rest to another location. So if we say move this one at 201, and we move this one at, oops, what happened? At, hello, I have dodgy keyboard today, at 202. So if I move this one down here, and then I say copy appearance 101 at appearance 103 through 109. There we go. So let's just give them the correct colors. Let's say cyan. This one is magenta. Let's just do it like this. The next one is yellow. The next one is red. The next one is blue. We just do it like this. We have a CT. What did I forget? No, it was green. Sorry. Edit. We take the green one. Like this. And then we take the blue one. Like that. And then we take the CTO kind of color. That's a little bit more difficult to find. Let's just do it with RGB colors. Can I change this to CMY? Maybe I can't. Let's just do it like this. And then we take the last one into a CTB kind of color. That's somewhere. Why is that not happening? There we go. Like this. That's probably fine. So now, if I push this one again, it's going to change to the correct colors. So let's just say store macro 104 through 109. And if I push this one, it's going to change, which is fine. So right now we have our first macro. That's the only one who has a command in it, because we have different commands we need to use here. We need, when I push a button, I need this one to change to cyan as a base color. And when I push this one, this is going to be the base color. So we need to reset these ones into our normal color first. And this is actually what this macro is doing. It's going to assign appearance 101 through 10. We need to change this to 109 at macro 101 through 109. So that's fine. Then if I push it, I needed to, we add a new macro line and we say assign appearance. Oh my God, I hate this keyboard. Assign appearance 201 at macro 101. So what it does, it resets all the macros colors to the standard one, and then it's going to assign the correct color to itself. So if I push this one now, it should turn white, and it does, and it resets the other ones. So now we need to go up and find there we go, in this range, and we say copy macro, appearance 201 at appearance 203 through 209. That didn't work. Now what did I do? What did I do? Copy appearance. Did I misspell it again? That's the thing about not being English. Appearance. Copy appearance 201 at appearance 203 through 209. There we go. And now we need to set the colors again. So we set this one to our magenta color, like this. We set this to our yellow color, like this. And you can do whatever you want with these colors. I mean, I'm just going to choose some standard colors because it's a lot easier. We have the red, we have the green, we have the blue, we have the CTO-ish kind of thing, and now I need to hit the same color. So basically what I want to do is go back and see what I did here. It says 100 and we say 95. That's weird. 195 and 60. So we go up again and we say 100, we say 95, and we say 60. That should be the same color. Then we do the same for the CTB color. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Hello. We call it 70. Let's just call it 70, 100, and 100. So that should be easier. So we say this one 70. That should do it. So now I need to change all these macros to start by hitting its own color. So if we copy this macro line, we just need to add a macro line to the new one. Actually, we need to copy the first one first and set that to all of them. Oops, we go into this one. We say that. Copy this one in 101, 109 at. So it basically the first command should be exactly the same in all the colors because it's going to do the same job. So we just paste these ones in here, and then we are going to change the other ones afterwards. So just do all of them here. We do all of them here. And the next one. The first time you do this is going to take a while, but the cool thing about the GrandMA lighting discs, GrandMA2, GrandMA3, even GrandMA1, is when you set up your own show, you're going to do this once. And then you're going to clone if you start a new show somewhere, you're going to use the same show file. You're not going to start from scratch every time. You're simply going to clone everything we built here into the show you need today. There we go. You see now, this one is okay. They should be okay. I have this one. That's odd. Why is this not working? That's because it's empty. That's not good. So now we have the white here, and it resets. So what did we do here to set its own appearance? So we assigned appearance 201 at macro 101, because 201 is where we stored all the other images, the all white images, if you can see them here, 201. So basically what I want to do now is copy this line of code, and then I go into this macro and I add a new line. I paste this one in, and I need to change it 202 at 102. So when I push this one, it's going to change. So this is basically what we're looking for. So we do the next one. We put this one in, and we say 203 and 103. That should be okay. We can try to push it. Yes. Same thing here. And now we change to 204 and 104. Oops. So this is the next one. That is 205 and 105. So we go into the next one, say 206, 106. So as you can see, it takes quite a bit of time to do this, but it's all worth it when you're done. Was that 7? I think it was 7. Oops. Damn. What did I do? There we go. 7. Still working. 6. You see, it's starting to work now. And you can do all these images exactly as you want them. I just chose colors, but you can do an image of the light itself or whatever. It's all up to you. There's a lot of options depending on your creativity. My creativity is not the biggest, so I just do what I can. Oops. And as you can see, I can't multitask either. It's not been my strong side, especially if you ask my wife. She will say I'm not able to multitask at all. And that's number 9. Number 9, let's see if they all work. So remember, when we start this, the first macro line assigns appearance 101 through 109 at macro 101 through 109. So basically, it resets all of them to its normal, just with the border. And then we have a custom macro line per macro for the next one, which sets its own appearance back to what we want. So now we can simply push these, and they should work all the time. And please notice that we haven't touched the lights yet. This is only for assigning the macros. This is only for building the macros. When we are done with all this, we're going to build a queue list with the colors in it, and then we're going to make a new macro line on top of this macro line that's going to tell it which queue to go to in that queue list. So that's it for this. It's for now. Let's just build the queue. We might as well build the queue list now. So let's open up our faders again. Let's just do our playbacks here. And then let's say all our vipers. We just store a color. Just go into shortcuts here. All our vipers in open white. We can simply store this in Q1 here. We go into cyan. We store it in Q2, magenta, Q3, yellow, Q4, red, Q5, green, Q6, Congo, Q7, 8, 9. And then if we close this one down. And we opened a sequence sheet, and I select. Oops, I select. How do I select here on my? That's Control, maybe? Yeah, Control and S. We select this one. We now created a lot of queues in our queue list. So let's just rename this one. Open wide. Oops. Cyan. Maybe we should add the Viper identification as well. We can do that later. Cyan. Magenta. Yellow. Red. Green. Blue. CTO. CTB. There we go. So now we have a queue list containing only color information on our Vipers. So we haven't turned them on. There's no light in them yet. It's only the color wheel that's moving. So now we have sequence number 2 here. And we want this to trigger a sequence. So let's just copy this sequence into, if we open the sequence window here. Oops, we need a sequence pool. And we just delete that one. Turn our shortcuts on again and delete that one, yes. And we say move. And we find 101 up here somewhere. There we go. And we call this Viper colors. All right. So now we need to add a new gobo line here. And maybe if we could change this so we could see what's going on. Now we can a little bit better see what's going on up here. So basically we want to trigger this so it moves the queue list here, and you can see the colors move down here. So what we want to do here, go into the macro, and we need to insert a new macro line above the other one. Actually, it doesn't matter, but we need the color to react as fast as possible. So we need to say sequence 101 Q1, and we need to say go. So if this works, this should go back to the open white color up here when I push this macro, and it did. So we go back into this one, we copy what's in here, and we close this one down, and we assign a new macro line. We right click and we go Q2, new one in here, assign a new macro line, and we say Q3, and we go into this one, paste this in as Q4. Let's just check if it's working. We have, if you notice this one up here, open white, cyan, magenta, yellow. So we take the next one and we say number 5, was it? I think it was. Yes. This one should be number 6. This one should be number 7. There's probably an easier way to do this if you were a really good programmer, but I'm not. I'm just an average programmer who thinks this is really fun. So that was 8, wasn't it? Yes. And then we need the last one. Insert a new macro line. And that should be number 9. So that should basically be all our colors working now. So let's say open white up here, cyan, magenta, yellow, red, green, blue, CTO, and CTB. So that's referencing our Vipers now. We could do the same for our auras as well. We could do the same for half of our moving lights. We could do the same for the other half of our moving lights, but that's not what we're going to do right now. So let's just go up and find our layout view again, because now we can see something really, really cool. Where is my layout view? Right here. And I'm in, that's our default view. We're not going to use that one. I think we could actually store this into this one. And it should stay there. Now, that's actually when you store the main view. So let's go into layout here. And let's say assign. Oops. Let's say assign. We better write it out. I can't remember all the shortcuts. Assign macro 101 through 109. And we simply, maybe we just push this one. Yeah, they're right here, right now. So we could go into setup. We could activate them. We could go into that one. We could move them around. And why is this smaller than the other ones? That's really odd. Maybe if we delete it and do it again. And we say up on our keyboard here. Assign 101. Add layout 2. Just delete this and try it again. There we go. It's still smaller than the other ones. That's kind of funny. Oops. That's kind of fun. Let's delete it and try it again. Did that work? It did work. So, but this, I keep deleting it. That's really stupid. Maybe I can oops my way out of it here. Yeah, I could. So let's just take this one. Let's select it. Let's see if we can find out why it's smaller than the other ones. I actually have no idea why it is. Position, border style, font size. That's kind of weird. Have I done something in the appearance? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know why it's smaller. Hopefully it's a bug of some sort. But now we should be able to go out of the setup menu, zoom in on these ones and push them, and they reference, you can see exactly the same is happening. But when I push my macro window up here, it's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do up here. So that's really, really nice. So we could go into setup again. We could select all of it, move it around if we wanted to, and then we could consider we need some timing, because right now it's just gonna, let's just delete this one and let's just delete the sequence. We don't need that right now. It's funny how you never have enough room in this on a screen like this. But let's just make this a little bit smaller. That's going to give us a little bit more room on the console, like this. Maybe move it up here. Maybe open a 3D window. Yeah, so we could now clear this. We could take all our Vipers, put them in position 2. We could turn them on. And maybe we need to play with the settings again here, because I reset it for some reason. Let's just try it like this. It looks fine. And now we can just push our macros if we're not in the setup mode, and it's going to change color. But it's going to change all the colors in 0 seconds. We don't really want that. Oh, maybe we do, but right now let's do some different macros that can change that for us. So if we build a macro here at number 110, and we say new macro line, and we say see, oops, like this, sequence, we called it 101, and we can say Q fade 2. Maybe that's gonna work. I don't know actually if it's gonna work. Right now we need to check out the fixture sheet. We need to delete this window and see if we can put up a sequence sheet like this, and we need to select sequence 101. There we go. Right now our fade time is 0, and if I push this macro, it's going to change to 2. But it only changed one queue, so we needed to change all the other queues as well. Sequence 101. We should be able to say Q 1 through 9, Q fade 2, maybe. And if I push it again, it's going to change all of them to 2 seconds. So if I push my macro, it's going to fade the color now. And that's really nice. So if I move this one, maybe I move it here and I rename it Q fade 2 seconds. I'm Danish, so seconds is with a K. That should be okay for you. And we copy this one here, and we say Q fade maybe 0, like this. Now we should be able to change the Q time with just pushing this one. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? Sequence Q1 through 9, Q fade 2. What was the difference between that and that? Sequence 101. Let's just copy this one and open this one and paste it in. That's because I need to change this to 0. There we go. So if I push it now, it changed the fade time to 0. If I push it again, it's changed to 2. Let's copy it again over here. And let's set the Q fade time to, let's say 5 seconds, just for the fun of it. And let's label this 5 seconds. So you see the power in this. I have the option of actually assign macro. It's called 110 through 112. I can assign this up here as well. And I should be able to go into setup, and I should be able to move it up here. And I should be able to remove that terrible appearance there and just say none. I can't do that for all of them. That's weird. Why won't it change? Usually that's not a problem to change the appearance, but there is a lot of buggy things still in the GrandMA. So I just assign it to an empty appearance number 17. I should be able to do the same on this one, just with nothing in it. Appearance 17. There we go. We go out of the setup menu, and right now, if I push this one, I have a snap on my color, like this. If I set it to 2 seconds, it fades over 2 seconds. If I set it to 5 seconds, it fades over 5 seconds. So that's really brilliant. I tried to do the same thing with the wait time so we could do some color sweeps, but I just couldn't get it to work. I can write a macro that says sequence Q fade Q delay 2 seconds. And that's going to work fine. You can see that. But if I make it 0 through 1 second, it's going to split it out over all the queues, which is really weird. Instead of assigning the delay time to one queue and one queue only, it spreads it out over the entire queue list, over all the queues. But maybe it's me misunderstanding the macro. But I think queue delay sequence 101 Q1 through 9 queue delay. I mean, in my brain, this should set the queue delay to 0 through 1 second on every queue. But I could be wrong. So maybe if I change this to just 1 on Q1, what's it gonna do here? That didn't work either. Sequence 101 Q1, queue delay 0 through 1. So, I mean, I don't think the desk is understands this macro yet, or maybe if you know better, then help me. I can't get it to work. So, and it's really bugging me because I think this is a brilliant setup. And then you could have your Q fade here, which is fine. And then over here, you could have some color sweeps. You could have sweeping one way, sweeping the other way, from the center and out in each direction, and from each direction in towards the center. You could do some fun stuff. But basically, this is how I would start setting up my colors on a GrandMA3 if I was to do a busking show. And when you've done all this, you could, let's just store this view here. Oops, I didn't store anything. Can I oops that? I can. Cool. So if I say shortcut again and I store it here in my main view, and then I clear this screen. Oops. I clear this screen and I go into my layout view. Then you can do some, I mean, you have a lot of room here to put all your macros out and do whatever you want. And you can put your entire rig here and do all kinds of crazy things. So this is basically how I would start setting up my busking show. And you could do the same down here. You could have all your positions, for instance, down here with timing when it goes from one position to another. You could have your zoom information. You could have all your gobo selections. You could do all of that inside this layout view. So, but you have to play with it. You have to write macros. You have to do all kinds of weird hally hoops to make it work. Because in actually, you could if I do this again, playback. That's the wrong one. I just need to go back into my layout view. There we are. There we are. You can assign a sequence directly into the layout view. So you can say assign. I did it again. Oh my God. Sometimes I've parked stuff and by doing these, forgetting that my shortcuts are on. Assign sequence 101 here, and then you can have sequences. As you can see, you can go through them. That also works really cool. So oh, you can set the height here. Let's just see if we can change this a little bit. This one is height 30, width and 50. It's funny because they are 50 wide and 50 high, and so is this according to this. That's weird. No, never mind. You can assign your sequences. You can assign all kinds of things into your macro window. You can set this appearance again, like this, you can go in and say, okay, when I push this one, what do I want it to do? I want it to go, I want it to pause, I want it to turn something off. It could be like a learn button if you tap delay or whatever. You can do all kinds of things. But as you can see, this software and this view and layout, it still seems a little buggy. It does some funny things, and please remember the software is very new and they are working really hard to perfect it. I think there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to make a show on it. I think it's a great console. Um, but this is the way I would start on the state it's in right now. I would probably build my busking show like this. On the GrandMA2, I would do it in the sequence I would do it in the sequence window because not this sequence window, the other sequence pool, sorry. The sequence pool, where do we have it? Right here. Because you could set it up here into direct action. So you could simply just set it to when I push it, it's going to activate the sequence. My understanding is you can't do that right now, but it's definitely going to come. That depends on when they are ready with this part of the software. So it's only a matter of time before it comes and works like that. So I'm just going to close this one off now. This is how I would start building a busking show on the GrandMA3. Busking GrandMA3 shows is a little bit buggy, as we talked about. Um, but I think it's really cool, and it definitely has potential. I love the fact that you have a proper 3D engine in the desk right now in the on-PC software. And remember, you can work on the desk and you can connect an powerful PC to the desk or to the console and see your visualization everywhere. Sorry, next to your console. And you can work like I'm doing here, right on the on-PC. The on-PC is a full version. You have all the functionalities in the real console is here in the on-PC version. So you can learn everything from home. So there's no reason not to get into it. So I hope you've enjoyed this very, very long and hopefully not very boring, but sometimes there's a lot of repetition and doing the same things and writing macros and all kinds of other stuff. But that's basically how it is as a GrandMA3 and GrandMA2 programmer. You have a lot of work to do when you start up something and you need to build your views and I've just worked in the same view all the time, just be able to, so you can be able to see what I'm doing. But you would, of course, build a lot of different views up here so you have quick access to everything. But this was just a start from scratch to see if how far we'd get and how everything works. So I hope you enjoyed it, and please give the video a like if you did enjoy it, and you're more than welcome to subscribe to the channel as well if you want to. So I hope to see you some other time, and thank you for watching this special episode of our GrandMA3 programming tutorial for GrandMA3 beginners. So I hope if you want to learn more GrandMA3 programming, we have a tutorial series on this channel, or I have a tutorial series on this channel where I simply start from episode number 1 with a blank, nothing like we did in this, like we did here, and then we just work our way forward, and episode by episode, we build more and more into it. So I promise you, if you start with episode number 1 and work your way through it and actually do the work on the console at home or on the computer on PC version at home, you are going to learn and you are going to start getting the experience you need. Because GrandMA3 programming and any other lighting disk, it's a matter of getting your feet wet. It's a matter of getting started. It's a matter of just trying it out and getting comfortable with it and getting some sort of routine in doing so. So with that said, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you on my channel again sometime in the future. So see you later. Bye bye.